This is Maya. Let's get into it. You did not get breached. Your own engineers handed the data over, one prompt at a time. Here's the scene, and it is happening in your company right now. Someone on your team is moving fast. They have a bug, or a contract, or a customer record, and they paste it into a public AI model to get help. It works. They get a great answer. They move on. And in that moment, that data left the building. Every prompt like that is a data export, a piece of your company sent to a third party, and nobody logged it. Now, most engineers hear this and think the risk is the model provider. Is the vendor trustworthy? Where are the servers? That misses the real gap. The gap is that nothing sits on the way out. 3 things are missing every time. Nothing inspects what is leaving. Nothing blocks sensitive content before the call goes out. And nothing records that it happened. So your proprietary data crosses the line silently, and you find out it left only when it surfaces somewhere it never should have. And here is the part that makes this different from a normal mistake. You cannot unsend a prompt. Once that content crosses the boundary, you no longer control it. The provider decides how long it is kept. The provider decides whether it trains the next version of the model. You decide nothing. Call it what it is. This is data exfiltration with a friendly interface. And if you think this is hypothetical, it is not. Samsung allowed engineers to use a public model, and inside 20 days, they had 3 separate leaks. Source code for semiconductor work. A confidential internal meeting, transcribed and pasted in for a summary. Real intellectual property gone, because the fast path to an answer ran straight through an external model with nothing standing in front of it. The mistake is treating this as a training problem for your staff. A memo, a lunch and learn. Be careful what you paste. People are busy and the tool is right there. A policy nobody can enforce is a policy that fails the first time someone is in a hurry. So what does good look like? You put a boundary between your own systems and any external model. And that boundary does 3 things. It inspects every outbound request before it leaves. It blocks content that is confidential, proprietary, or regulated before the call is ever made. And it logs what it stopped, so you have a record instead of a guess. The engineer still gets the speed. The company keeps its secrets. Both at the same time. Picture the record you want. An outbound request goes to an external model. The boundary scans the payload, sees proprietary source code and customer information, checks the policy that says confidential data does not leave, and returns 1 word. Blocked. And it writes that down. That single block is the difference between using AI and feeding it your company. So before you let your team point at a public model, ask one question. What is leaving the building when they do, and who is watching the door? If the answer is nobody, then your data loss prevention is a hope, and hope is not a control. If this sounded like a habit your team already has, share it with the person who owns your data security. See you next time.